Hey friends, it's Robin. Today we're going to be talking about October releases. I have 9 books on my list that I am really excited for that are coming out in October. As always, these are just the books that I am personally most excited for. So down in the description box, I will link some other videos and creators that do these types of videos in case you're looking for more October releases to add to your TBR. But let's get right into this month's releases. So right away on October 4th, we have 2 books that are coming out. First up, we have Just Like Home by Sarah Hogle. This is the author of You Two Deserve Each Other, and I have had this sitting over on my Goodreads, like on my radar shelf for probably close to 2 years now, because the author released a little blurb about this one and it immediately sparked my interest. This is about a heroine who was kind of like a wealthy, well-off person her entire life, and now she suddenly is without any money, and while she is playing a Christmas record backwards, she accidentally summons a holiday spirit. The spirit can grant her her holiday wishes, and I believe it is a fake dating romance between her and this spirit, and I just think that premise sounds ridiculous and over the top and adorable, and I absolutely cannot wait for it. And then totally different, we have Lute by Jennifer Marie Thorne, and this is a folk horror, I believe. This cover is actually what pulled me in. I think this cover is absolutely beautiful. It says that it is Midsummer meets The Guest List in an atmospheric, unsettling folk horror novel. On the island of Lute, every 7 summers, 7 people must die. They live a happy life untouched by the war that rages all around them. Nina is new to the island. She's never had to experience the tragedy and believes it all to be superstitious nonsense. But when the day arrives, it's a day of nightmares, grief, and reckoning. But it's also a day of community, survival, and strength. And when the day ends, Nina and the island will never be the same. This reminds me a lot of like the Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw, where like people disappear into the water every now and then. It also reminds me a lot of, that Tessa Groton book. I'll pop it up right here, where people are sacrificed to the woods every year to keep them safe. I'm very excited for this one. I love that premise. I think this sounds very dark and creepy and perfect for October. And then on the 11th, we have 2 more books. First, we have Mistakes Are Made by Meryl Wilsner. I've had this author on my radar, but I haven't actually read one of her books yet. This is a female-female romance. I love like the ex's dad trope, and I believe this is a best friend's mom romance. And I love that. It says that it is about a college senior who accidentally hooks up with her best friend's mom. That's all I know about it, and that's all I want to know about it. And then the other book on this day is actually also a female-female romance, and that is Season of Love by Helena Guerrier. This is following a heroine who has to return to her family's tree farm for a very unwanted family reunion, and I believe it is a romance between her and the manager of the tree farm, and I believe this is a female-female Jewish romance, which sounds really, really cute and adorable. And then on to October 18th. First is A Cosmic Kind of Love by Samantha Young, and this was another one that I ended up looking into because of the cover. Fun fact about me, I actually did astronomy research when I was in college, so when I saw planets on the cover, I was immediately pulled in. So it sounds like this is following an event planner named Haley, who is planning out like the latest wedding. When the bride sends her a bunch of like inspiration videos, it is a bunch of videos of her ex-boyfriend who was an astronaut and now he has returned to Earth. It is their second chance romance, I assume. That sounds really adorable. I love second chance romances as long as they are done well. I'm hoping that I love this one. And then the last one on this day is a new book to my TBR that I don't even know if I've ever read the synopsis for, but that is The Whispering Dark by Kelley Andrew. But it's because this book was compared to The Raven Boys meets Ninth House, and that combination immediately pulled me in. This one says that it is a haunting, dreamlike tale of sacrifice, love, and obsession. Our heroine is tired of being seen as fragile because she's deaf, so when she's accepted into a prestigious program that trains students to slip between parallel worlds, she's excited for the chance to prove herself. But her semester gets off to a rocky start as she faces professors who won't accommodate her disability, and a pretentious upperclassman fascinated by her unusual talent. Our hero died when he was 9 years old. Quite impossibly, he woke up several weeks later at the feet of a green-eyed little girl. Now 12 years later, our heroine has stumbled back into his orbit. She seems to be the only person on campus who finds him more arrogant than charming. Yet after another student turns up dead, she and him are forced to form a tenuous alliance, plummeting them down a rabbit hole of deeply buried university secrets. This sounds so good. This reminds me a lot of like The Magicians, the whole slipping between parallel worlds, if you read the book or watched the show. So I'm really excited for this one. It sounds like a lot of fun. I think this one's classified as YA, if I'm remembering correctly. I am nearly positive that this is own voices for the deaf representation as well. And then on October 25th, I just have one book, and that is Archangels Resurrection by Nalini Singh. This is the 15th book in the Guild Hunters series. I've talked about this a couple of times, but I'm not going to talk about the synopsis of this book because obviously we're 15 books in. It's going to be spoilery. This series follows a world where archangels are like the rulers of the world, and they have angels and vampires that work for them, and there is an organization called the Guild Hunters that can help keep the vampires in line. The series is kind of what happens when a prophecy comes true and an archangel falls in love with a guild hunter, and things happen from there. This book is one of the archangels romances. This may be the final contracted book in this series, so I don't know if we're getting more. I'm really sad if this is the last one. I don't want it to end. And then the final book that I want to talk about is on October 31st, and that is Resting Witch Face by Juliette Cross. I am very late to this train, but I am completely obsessed with the series, and this is Jules's romance. Very excited for this one because Jules's romance is probably the one I'm most excited for. This is following a family of witches, and all of the sisters in this family have a different affinity. Each book is following one of the sisters as they get their romances with other paranormal creatures, and this is going to be a romance between Jules and like the leader of the vampires, and I believe this one's a second chance romance. I'm trying to binge through this entire series so that I can get to this one, and that is it for this list. This was such a short video. I think this is like the least number of books I've ever had to talk about in one of these videos. Check down in the description box for some other YouTubers and videos if you want to check out even more October releases. Let me know if any of these are on your radar, your TBR, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye!